it does quite a bit. I would say just outright ban it.
Well, we'll see whether they do, as LeBlanc and Tom Kench are going to be taken away here by Snake. You can see it's Lysandra and Twisted Fate once again for game talents, meaning we'll see whether something like the Malzahar, something like the Vladimir get through. The Snake are waiting for it. 10 seconds to go.
Yes.
I think can ban the Sivir and just say, we want one of them big picks.
Yeah. They do go for the Hecarim.
Wow,
ban.
Hecarim.
I like once again the Twisted Fate, Lysandra ban. Don't give a tank that comfort pick. But the best thing about it is Snake saying, you know what? We had a great early game. It worked out well for us. Ban out the LeBlanc, which really created a lot of pain. So you take that away from Republic, which is an amazing comfort pick for him.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they get the Vladimir pick for them.
They do. So Hecarim going to be banned away from Wushang. Malzahar gets the priority from game talents. So the Vladimir gauntlet has been thrown. Sivir now going to go over to the hands of GT. See what Martin decides to go for. We'll see whether he picks up something like the Ashe in response to try and equalize that late game. As we did see in the W versus RNG series yesterday. Was in fact Uzi being able to come out on top in game number 2 of that series on the Ashe into the Sivir in the late game.
Yeah, Ashe does quite a bit of damage, does quite a lot to the Sivir in the specific matchup, but also does give you a very clear identity in the mid game. The Malzahar is down, which was an easy mode for Ashe, where you pretty much you wait for the Malzahar lockdown, then you pick him off with the Ashe arrow, maybe even a Hecarim ulti. It's just pretty much the Malz ulti made everything just a go button.
Yeah.
So now, without that, perhaps they shy away.
Well, we'll see what Snake decide to do here, as SOFM currently having a look at the Nidalee. We'll see as well. I mean, the bottom lane now locked in for GT, but anything else sort of standing out here? Of course, Rek'Sai is available for SOFM if he wants to lock it in.
I mean, giving away
some jungle picks there.
Giving away Sivir and Braum to game talents, once again, it's going to be really annoying to deal with. I would expect some real hard engage from Snake.
Well, there it is. You want 2 forms of hard engage to come into your bottom lane? Ashe Alistair will do it.
That's what you need. If you're going up against Braum, Sivir, they can... The lane's strong for them, right? And then later on in the game, their late game is much stronger. If we needed any more highlight reels to showcase Sivir's play.
Yep.
And of course, the ulti tool get you in a fight, get you out of a fight. That's just game talents' mindset.
On the Hunt works so well with concussive blows there as well.
Yeah.
Because Savoki tags someone up and then you're just never going to be out of range. You can chase them down, so nice work. But I do like the response from Snake with all of this hard engage that they have picked up. Republic thinking about going towards the Azir. So just massive amounts of AoE damage to game talents.
Yeah, you have to kind of be afraid to pick that Azir in. Azir is solid. It's a really strong team fight, especially with the Gangplank if you do lock it in. But of course, you have to be afraid of the Alistair, the Vladimir, and the Ashe ulti. That's a lot of ability to just pick you off. So if you ever get caught out, well, at the very least, you have to get a cleanse on you.
Well, now you can see if they do lock these in, not a lot of big front line. They're going to be relying on Wushang to pick up one of those as Victor is switched over at the last second. Republic, of course, pretty famous for his Victor play.
Yeah, great zone control from them already. They don't have much of a front line other than the Braum, so you have to expect perhaps a Rek'Sai or Gragas for their last pick. But Gangplank, really solid. I'm a fan of him. He does, like, here's the thing. We already saw from EDG, you get the Gangplank, you get the Victor, you get the Sivir, especially the Braum. Sivir can just, it's better than having a tank line in the sense that you never want to walk up to Gangplank or Victor when they've had their barrels or, you know, the zone control off his W. And it gives PentaQ a lot of time and a lot of freedom to basically dish out damage. So I like it. I just want to see a little bit more. I want to see what it rounds up to in their jungle pick.
Well, it is going to be the Elise locked in here for SOFM as Nara is picked up by Flandre. So Flandre, he's going to be the one looking for those flanking plays with that Mega Gnar against Gimgoon's Gangplank.
Yeah,
does have the ability to at least knock over those barrels, which is very important in that laning matchup. As now Wushang, see what he decides to go for.
Yeah, it might just be the Rek'Sai. I like Snake's response with Elise Gnar because they are going up against Gangplank, and the prime way to deal with a Gangplank is not to play into his hands, which is basically playing away from him, where he can just ulti and impact the bottom lane without having to do much.
Yeah.
But actually just abusing the matchup in and of itself. So Gnar and Elise is going to be creating a lot of trouble for him.
As well as the fact that Gnar is fantastic just because you get so much CC, soft CC, to try and chase him down. So Gimgoon's oranges ain't going to really do that much, especially if Flandre decides to go for that Frozen Mallet build.
And of course, game talents do respond with the Rek'Sai pick. As I said, if they didn't, then it would have been pretty bad for them. They really needed that front line to help out. So a solid composition coming up from them.
Yeah, and we'll see whether it is going to be game talents going for some sort of lane swap play, but now with the Braum Sivir instead of the Alistar Sivir, whether they're happy to take that laning phase. Also might want to hide Gimgoon, but he wants to get to a Trinity Force, so probably wants to be in the lane.
He does indeed. So we'll have to see how he plays out, whether they take the aggression that was coming out from SOF and Flandre, or if they just decide to kind of give him a little bit more, I guess, open up the map. If they do open up the map, that's good for them too. So,
well, we'll see how it goes. The coaches do shake hands. Let's get into game number 2 between GT and Snake. Thanks very much, Flandre, and here we are onto the riff for Snake versus Game Talents, game number 2. Snake trying to round this one out. We'll give them the head-to-head over GT as well. Of course, GT beating Snake in week 1, but in a 3-game series went down to the wire. As you can see, it's another Deathfire touch, Victor. Seems to have caught on.
we see a Strength of the Ages on Vlad as well. So
the big tanky man. Not going for that Storm Raider surge that a lot of people do like. We've seen more of this in the LPL.
That's true. And so the best stats I like to see is top lane Gangplanks. A lot of them either go for the Thunderlords or the Grasp of the Undying. I like the Thunderlords a lot more. It takes away from his lane strength because he can't really trade as well. But it gives you a lot of strength in your ultis, so that's a little bit more worrying for Snake's bottom lane.
Hey, that's true. GT will be able to play cross-map quite nicely.
So we'll have to see how they sort it out, but it looks like they are looking for that lane swap.
They're going to walk over some vision here at the same time, so Snake will see whether they decide to try and answer, but they're not going to be able to quickly enough. As Jay-Z and Martin move straight into the enemy jungle.
Of course,
Grump has already been... Oh, sorry. Somebody just spawns.
Of course, they have to clear out right away because if you're committing your entire bot lane to push you out of that jungle, and oh, there we go, close. He gets that one jungle creep, that wolf. It's great for him. But yeah, a lot of they're pretty much committing their entire bot lane to push him out, and that's mostly because Savoki and Jay-Z are both on tank matchups. Alistar and Braum can't really do much to push them out. If it was a Karma, if it was a Nami, that would be just fine. If it was a Thresh, Bard, you know, it'd be easy to kind of just do the solo push off. But it's almost impossible. In fact, you put yourself on the line, threaten your life by just doing it alone. So they just bring up their 80 carry just in case.
You can see immediately GT move over to the red buff. There's a ward here in this wolf camp as well. They know exactly what they can get away with. As blue buff is, of course, still available. SOFM will be able to go towards his strong side of the map, clear that one out very effectively. It's now Tank holding some control back here in the mid lane.
Yeah, interesting to see SOFM look to just sneak that wolf camp right under Wushuang's nose. Now he's able to just pretty much go back into Wushuang's jungle and his blue side, take his blue, should be at an XP advantage here because of that.
Yeah, it's actually 10-7 as far as that is concerned, but one extra CS being picked up by Gimgun does account for that one. As that is a very confused Golem trying to find the spiderlings.
You know, if I was going up against a group of spiders, I would be just as confused or worried.
What are they doing here?
It's like, get off of me, all of you.
Well, Wushong is going to go back to his red buff. Clear that one out now. And it is SOFM making sure that he clears everything out before heading back towards this blue.
Now, we've seen Vladimir banned out quite often, right? So we're now finally getting to see him back in the game up against the Victor. So one of the strengths of him is able to just consistently push out this lane, especially against the Victor. Now, Victor last game, see how annoying he is.
It's repugnant. He can never lose a trade, Raz.
Not going to happen. And not only can he just continuously trade, but he can continuously shove you into your tower. So it gives SOFM a lot of freedom to kind of just do what he wants. If he wants to stay in his jungle, then, you know, you have that freedom. If you want to walk into Rek'Sai, say hello, go for it.
Well, Tank right now, tip IQ, but Republic running out of mana. Tank not running out of mana. Will never. Doesn't actually have any.
Yeah, so right now, Wushong definitely needs to help the Victor out in terms of when Victor does want to back for his upgrade, but he's playing a little too.
Yeah, and in goes the Cocoon, immediately cleanses out of the way as Tank doesn't find a volatile spiderling. Oh my god! So close! SOFM even did the fadeaway.
Yeah, they were so convinced that that was going to be the killing blow. But even if it isn't, doesn't really matter. They end up pushing him into his tower, shoving him in, gets that CS advantage. It's really difficult initially for Victor to farm up until his power spike, his 2 upgrades, and Vladimir just makes it all the more awkward because of course he's just going to constantly shove you in. And of course, if he has his help of his jungler, makes it all the worse, really.
Yeah, exactly right. But thankfully, was able to actually pick up that Hexcore upgrade on that first back. And that is going to be the Spectre's Cal in response from Tank. We'll see whether he finishes the Spirit Visage or goes for something like the Dash Cannon, Proto Belt, or into the Rylai's first up. I actually quite like just seeing Spectre's Cal into some damage, just with how Vlad has been a little bit changed.
That's true. But, yeah, and of course there's a lot of AD coming out of this team. A lot from Gangplank, Rek'Sai, Sivir. You kind of have to take them into consideration. If they did have the Elise, if they had like an AP, like a little stronger AP presence, then maybe you can just go for the magic resist. But he needs to start doing the damages, especially since he has such a... Oh, there we go.
Cocoon lands from SOFM. In goes the Hemo Plague as Tank celebrates in his pool form, and they pick up first blood for SOFM one more time, but this time it's 6 minutes, not 21.
And that's just an alteration of plans. In draft phase, they picked Elise to pretty much help out Flandre. Not even help him out, just abuse the Gangplank matchup. But Tank has been doing so well in trades, just pretty much catching Republic playing a little too far forward in the matchup, playing too greedily for the wave, that first they get the flash from him. They chunk him out, get flash, they come right back. Oh, I mean, not only did they get the flash, but of course they got the cleanse just as well. So that's just a repeat gank coming into Tank, just naturally winning out this matchup.
Yep, solidifies it as that bullet is going to travel a very long way, finding Flandre on his fountain. However, he's going to be A-OK. Goes back to base. Ninja Tabi completed already. Movement speed, phenomenal stat for Na, who wants to kite you around. So FM back in the jungle, trying to catch back up in this farm as Wushong paying some attention here in the jungle.
Ooh, this could be interesting. Actually, no, they're just... For a second, I thought they were going to look to match.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's just not going to get any better. But yeah, I thought they were going to look to match after the first tower, but they're continuing this push. Even sending Gnar a little early here.
Well, that cleanse is not available just yet. As Jay-Z flashes forward, gets that headbutt, pulverizes Tank, just eats him up. There's the knock-up. Wushang is going to answer this. So it's a 1-for-1, but once again, the Victor not here to pick up this minion wave.
Yeah, so it may have been a 1-for-1, but it definitely isn't an even trade. That is just pushing Victor farther and farther behind. In just the kills, obviously, but he's getting shoved out. He's losing so much experience right now.
Yeah, Cannon Barrage has to be used towards the top side of the map here as well. Flandre and Martin just move to the other side, but that minion wave will die.
See, that's the fun of Gangplank. You put yourself in a lane swap position, or if you just start to trade towers, you ulti the opposing wave, and you will instantly have a faster tempo because you force the enemy team to look to the next wave instead.
Yeah, wait for it.
Yeah. So
SOFM looking to take down a red buff though, so I guess they get that in trade.
that's true.
A dragon and turret to fall down for GT.
So this is good for game talents a little bit to get something out of just a snowballing matchup coming down mid lane.
Mountain Drake going to be the second dragon of the game as well, so finally a cloud has been picked up. There goes the bottom turret, but even timings with that dragon falling as well.
They're just shoving this into the bottom lane with Gangplank. Are they looking to threaten this tower, or are they just going to back away? Yeah, okay, they just back away. They shove it in, so they don't want the tower to just kind of... They don't want it to be frozen. That's the fear. So they bounce it off the second tower, and they look to go back top. They should have the inner track. They should have the tempo now, because they have one less wave to push in to get to that inner tower top lane. So it's great from game talents. Their side waves are getting pushed out. Really, they're doing well with their side waves. It's just not working well for Republic specifically.
Yeah, it's just Republic that's the real sob story here. Has led to a slight gold advantage for Snake. Honestly, not too much of a big deal, as we did see Mouse. He got punished at the beginning of that game for EDG. And Gangplank was doing a bunch of work come late game, though.
Yeah, once he hits,
can do the same thing.
Once he hits his Triforce into, of course, the armor pen items, he's a force. You have to respect him. The Nard definitely will get chunked. So you have to watch out for that. The longer the game goes on, the harder it is to deal with the composition that GT has.
Yeah, of course, Vladimir will scale also incredibly well. Nah, does scale quite nicely, but it's the hawk shot. JZ looking to try and engage.
Oh, we're about to see something.
Yeah, in goes the flash immediately. Burrow comes out. Hemoplague's actually expended, but they do manage to get that flash, and you'll trade an ultimate for a flash any day of the week.
Definitely. Looks like they shoved this in. Are they just gonna... They might just look to threaten this tower. Usually it isn't smart to threaten tower. But if they notice that it's just not going to be answered to, then they can just pretty much get the free chip on it.
Yeah, we'll do so right now as SOFM is coming over to try and help. Arrow slidles through. Nice spell shield from Pentaque. Flandre was looking for the flash ultimate, but doesn't get it. Cocoon goes wide. There's a big ult into the wall. Saboki's going low. Nice heal comes out from Pentaque, who flashes onto SOFM. Gets the concussive blows, and the Prey Seeker nails the kill. Nice turnaround from GT, but in goes JZ. Nice double knock up, but as a volley comes down as well, Saboki is going to burn to death in amongst this one. JZ picks it up. Pull right in there, but Tank doesn't have the ultimate back up again. And Flandre hits a nice boomerang to stop the engagement. In the end, it is a 2-for-1 trade in favor of GT.
This has been working really well for game talents. A lot of questions on how are they going to be able to fit Victor back into this fight, but they're doing just that. It really just comes down to the fact that Snake hasn't been responding well to these pushes. Of course, it's going to be difficult to Sivir. Like, they're just pretty much using their side wave pressure to always be forcing Snake to either respond, because they definitely... I mean, the alternative is to also trade, but you can't trade into a Sivir. So it's looking bad for him. Sivir does have quite a bit of a CS lead too.
Yeah, picking up 115 in comparison to the 98 has been done here for Martin. He does have this wave actually pushing back into him, so can hold on to this for quite some time. Pentaque now going to hold back onto it.
It was a great reaction too from Pentaque to be able to spell shield the Ashe ult. So that was something I didn't mention earlier, but something that was incredible in that sense. If he had gotten hit by it, would have been fight for Snake.
Yeah. Basically over at that stage as Martin continues to push things out. Now only 8 CS behind. Leads this minion wave forward as SOFM over the side. Pink ward's here. Will the Elise still able to get something done? Savoki doesn't have a ward. Boomerang flies through.
Yeah, questions what Snake going to do with their pressure. They have a lot of mid pressure. It still exists. Vlad is constantly pushing them in. Ashe and Alistair were able to shove in that bot lane. So now, what are they going to use it for? It looks like they're going to be grouping up mid.
And Jay-Z does have level 5, so not quite with the Unbreakable Will just yet. The Snake all group up for this mid lane outer turret. And there's the Q from the Ashe, doing a lot of work. Wushang has been seen on the other side of this map. Snake do back away.
Yeah, but that
nice
was
damage.
There was some great chip damage coming into the mid tower. So they could have maybe pushed in that bot lane a little more. There was one wave that they didn't shove in, and they had Elise's help, so they could have actually pushed it a little bit further. It would have given them a little bit more time in terms of chip damage mid. Maybe even look to dive the Victor, who was solo in that lane. But you have the Elise, and one of the strengths, of course, is that they have the additional range on that champion.
Yeah.
So they can just pretty much look to siege mid whenever possible.
Well, the tank has built up that proto belt, so left the Spectre's cowl. I do like it. Has actually used it. Actually helps his wave clear a lot as well. Even though Tides of Blood's pretty dumb anyway.
Mm.
You just dash cannon right in there, clear that thing out. So okay. Nails SOFM with a cheeky Winter's Bite.
Dragon's coming up soon, so they better look to... Snake is looking to get the vision control of it. They're actually just getting pushed off.
No TP for Gimgoon either. We'll be up in a couple of minutes. Sorry, a few seconds actually. As Martin makes his way over, we'll see whether the Snake decides to start this one up.
Nice pinks from them. Not good enough. There's still that one ward peeking out. Of course, since they are on blue side, they do want to place one pink outside of the pit so they could catch that. Because if it was... They have no real fear of a pink inside the pit, so...
Well, Martin wanders over a ward back down to this wave. PentaQ shoved into him. Item advantage for PentaQ. Of course, did go back at a better time here than Martin, so could actually be important. This bottom lane. SOFM over the side gets himself some vision. Not going to be in range for that Q. That volatile Spiderling doesn't find anyone. Nice work from Republic. He picks himself that one up with a Death Ray. Now back to the mid lane.
I feel like SOFM could have looked to contest that blue buff. At the very least, you take blue buff away from Republic. A lot of pinks going down.
Well, there's the headbutt as Republic is going to get cocooned as well. Hemoplate comes down as Tank flashes on top of him with the pull. Chaos Storms there. Gimgoon grabs Jay-Z and Tank now exhausted. Nice use of the Crimson Rushes. Martin has a lot of damage, but that Death Ray hits 3 people. And GT really plowing forward. Gimgoon doesn't find the third barrel. Tank gets shot. Snake chunked, thrown out of the fight.
See, that's the key. You don't need the... They have so much zone control for PentaQ that they can do that forever. Like, it's really difficult to engage on a team that has Victor, Gangplank, and Sivir.
Oh,
especially Braum. So, oh.
Another barrel flies through as Fandre is going to get flashed on. Gimgoon does get the flash out of him. Isn't able to pick up the kill, and outer turret falls. And GT now look towards the Dragon themselves. Republic slow, but Snake all had to go back.
Yeah, so they get the free Dragon off of this one. And honestly, this is great play from Game Talents. They have the composition that, honestly, PentaQ should feel free to deal as much damage as possible. Get the Dragon in. This should
going to be the Infernal as well.
Yeah, and this has been the state of the game today. A lot of Sivir coming through and pretty much find a way to protect the Sivir in those team fights, whether it be through the frontliners or even just the Gangplank does quite a bit too. If you ever want to walk in, you can't even look to assassinate the Sivir, or else you just pretty much get a barrel to the face.
Yeah. Well, Snake.
look for Dragon. They could have probably gotten Dragon and still been able to defend mid, but they didn't allocate resources properly.
Didn't send Republic back in order to defend that, potentially.
Yeah.
Well, it is going to be a Zeal advantage for PentaQ. 1-0-2 on the Sivir, 0-0-1 for the Ashe, but that big CS lead that PentaQ has, as well as that extra kill, in a much better position. So we've seen mix-ups in the Ashe builds as well. I really do like the Hurricane Infinity Edge for the earlier power spike, but Martin just wants to have as many arrows as possible.
Ah, yes. So that's a good point. I do like on Ashe specifically, so much like just applying the slows to just about everyone in the team fight. Really valuable. That's why I do love that item on her. Oh,
arrow flies through, does nail Republic. Can't quite find anything more.
Yeah. They're just kind of throwing out these Ashe ultis and seeing what sticks. They decided not to go in for that fight. That would be a little bit too much. I think, yeah, Republic would have been able to at least, he had his team nearby. They would have been able to kind of disengage and pick that fight back up again.
Republic now able to hold on to this wave quite nicely as well, so Snake unable to push too much further forward. Flandre still with his teleport, but Gimgoon has his back off. Very close to max CDR as well. As soon as he goes back, Caulfield's hammer is done, then that's 40% CDR for the Gangplank. That's precisely what you want. And
so, just taking a step back, Snake right now, they have a composition that they might be in a bit of a deficit, not too much, right? They have a lot of pick coming from Ashe, so as you saw from the arrows that she tossed right down, but they have a lot of split and a lot of support for that split. Gangplank should not be able to, like, he'll get chased down pretty much in this down the lane from Gnar. Once Gnar actually picks up the Randuin's Omen, it'll be a little bit difficult for him to deal with it, especially with Elise kind of looking to maybe toss the favor in his odds. And so right now, that's something that they have in the back of their head, something that they can look to abuse going forward. Game Talents, on the other hand, they have a clearer track. Look for those team fights, look for those engages. They don't even need to engage, quite honestly. They just need the proper positioning in these team fights. And you just let Sivir do the work.
Yeah. We'll see whether Snake can actually appropriately focus down PentaQ in these fights as well. Right now, not hitting that power spike just yet. Of course, wants the Phantom Dancer, wants the Infinity Edge. Martin, caught by Prey Seeker. JZ's hanging around this Baron. But at this moment, both of these teams just sort of milling about.
A lot of emphasis on this Baron right now. Sivir's pushing out this top wave so they can get a lot of control out of it. Snake recognizes this and they're right now trying to counteract. Good play from them, honestly. Because if you give Game Talents a little bit more time, they'll take that vision control and they'll start to look to threaten. And if you get them in that point, of course, then you'll have some problems, of course, looking to engage or at least get some vision of that area.
Well, now the Phantom Dancer is done for PentaQ. Martin does have a wave to shove out, so we'll be able to get away from this 40 CS deficit that he's in. Hawkshot flies through, notices the fact that there's no one there. And Tank continues to shove this one out. 200 CS, 21 minutes, not too bad. Wushang probably not going to be able to find a gank on the Vladimir, who has the Ghost.
But he still needs to be in the area because Snake has recaptured this Baron area. So you gotta be worried. You are the Rek'Sai, so you are a key member to being able to track their location.
Yeah.
Know if they're baiting or not. If he's ever too far away, it's bad for him.
Well, there's the dash cannon one more time as JZ's looking for the headbutt. Pulverized Flash comes out of Republic. As Tank still wants this one. Heal comes out. Flandre does nail the boomerang, and Martin picks up the kill into Republic. Meganar's going to come in here as he can gnaw them into the wall. Gets the double stun as Wushang so low. Double kill comes in for Martin as the Q is loaded. 2 picks for Snake, and really nice play.
That is what you need. The thing is with Game Talents is that they are a good team, but they don't act like a team at times. It feels like Republic is too far away from, like, they don't connect the play. So if Republic is getting caught out, the team is fairly slow in reacting.
Well, nice barrel comes in from Gimgoon as the boomerang's going to follow Flandre. Wants to be able to build up his Narbar if he can, thanks to some barrels. Being able to get that one done.
But yeah, if Game Talents wants to improve as a team, they have to start acting like it. Their communications need to really start to get a little better, because at this point, there's no excuse. If you get caught out, fine. You can look for that fight. But there's no excuse for the team to not be responding to a pick. They can respond in either looking for a...
Oh no, and another Dragon to go to Game Talents here as well.
Yeah.
Snake dropping the ball on that front completely, as SOFM is going to make it here, but that Dragon is well and truly gone. Fork shot flies through, and there's the arrow, just goes wide as Tank already has to use the pull. Dash Cannon not going to work, and Pentacube picks up the kill. Honestly, ball dropped as there's the headbutt. Pulverize locks down Republic and Pentacube, but there's the Cannon Barrage, and Jay-Z's going to pay for it with his life. SOFM, they would have picked one of them up, but it's a double kill as he gets a bullet to the back of the face. And from what was really good from Snake, turns really bad really quick.
Messy plays. So you know the Dragon's up. You get the earlier advantage that you had, and then poor back timings. But fine, if you get that poor back timings, then give up the Dragon. But don't take an even number fight. That's exactly what Game Talents wants you to do.
Kimgoon actually close to dying to the Baron, but they pick it up. 4 men up. No SOFM or Tank. And honestly, that was inexcusable from Tank. Just throws down the pool and just leaves himself for dead.
Yeah.
And had no way out.
It's positioning at the end of the day. If they're going to look to take that fight, at least wait for Alistair, who's... Honestly, Alistair was looking for a flank play. He was coming around the back, and that's fine. If you can maybe look for that play. But you got to elongate a little bit more, play around. Don't go in too far, because then the play dies.
It certainly does. Now Martin as well bought a long sword after that, but it's a BF sword, and that execution is calling for Pentacube. This Sivir is looking so big, able to take care of the Vladimir as well.
Yeah, he has a lot of damage at this point. Looking for the Infinity Edge next.
Yeah.
Once he gets that IE, then I mean, he was a problem before. Now he's gonna be. It's going to be a real impossibility to get these fights unless if they get a pick. And that really just comes down to their pick composition. Yeah. They can also just look to put Nara on side a lot more. He needs to be on the side waves. Once he starts to force Gimgoon away from these fights, then that takes away that barrel pressure that, you know, that Sivir has been kind of relying on.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
A lot of times Gimgoon is in these fights. He's not TPing, he's not using his ulti, he's actually just sitting on top of the Sivir, placing down his barrels. If you force him away from that, then Sivir feels a little easier to catch.
Yeah, more accessible.
Yeah.
You can see as well, Gimgoon 3-0-3 in comparison to the 0-0-3 Nara out of Flandre. Split push possibly looking better and better for Gimgoon as he gets more and more items. This Tank coming around from the side. Poke damage coming in, tags from these boomerangs as you can see Flandre building up the Naba. Wanting to land these transfusers. Gets the Crimson Rush for all of that health back.
Yeah, Game Talents is really closing in some pressure. Perhaps even coming in for looking for a game 3, but bam! Smacks that.
See you later, that minion wave.
Yeah, smacks that wave. But yeah, Game Talents bringing it on back. Feels good for them to be able to take this game, look to challenge for a possible game 3. Don't want to speak too soon though, because anything's possible. You see a lot of trading in terms of these team fights going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly right. These teams feel very, very closely matched. Republic takes away his blue buff, now heading towards that bottom side of the map. Wushang's here. Tank probably wants to tell Flandre that could be a problem. As On the Hunt has been popped. Flandre looking for the hop. Can he get there? Chaos Storm comes in, but there's no Rylai's. So Flandre just continues wandering casually out of the way.
Yeah, they tried to get the pick. It wasn't going to be possible. Even if it was a longer lane, he was going to get his Mega Gnar up soon, regen up that HP. Be a lot tankier in that regard. So he would have been fine regardless. But it was a decent pick to look for. I just like the fact that they were looking for that scrap. So
yeah.
They have Baron. Going to be looking to challenge his bot tower now.
In fact, the Locket of the Ancillary being used here from SOFM is trying to close distance onto Republic. Chaos Storm comes in, and there's the knock-up. The Elise has to repel, but isn't going to be able to use it to get into the fight as Tank pull once again. And in goes Jay-Z. Wushang taking a lot of damage. Martin able to get a lot through his Flandre. Does a lot of work in the back end of the fight, but it's just not enough. The follow-up isn't there. Now Martin has to run away. Barrels coming in. Gimgoon still takes a lot of damage. They don't have a minion wave.
Yeah, the earlier snowball we were seeing from Tank is not amounting to much. He was doing quite well for himself, but he can't walk in. He's trying his hardest to pretty much be as much like zone control, get in there, force the team to back away, and perhaps give Martin some time to deal some damage, but he's dying way too quickly. Right now, Sivir, Victor, Gangplank, those three champions have been coming back, and they're showing a lot of strength in terms of forcing those proper team fights. They can engage if they want to. They can disengage if they want to.
I find it really interesting the fact that Game Talents wait until their Baron buff wears off before they start sieging.
Yeah.
Odd decision to make, but successful as they take down all of the inner turrets now. Inhibitor turrets, next one standing, and they do have a big gold lead to nestle themselves there. 6.3k, something like that. Wushang grabs himself this Rift Scuttler. The monopoly they've had on the Dragons as well, very important. Lots of movement speed from the Cloud Drake, as well as the added base stats, 8% from that Infernal Drake. The extra siege potential from that mountain.
Like, Game Towns, they make mistakes. They do. They put themselves in an interesting position, as you say. The problem is that you can't punish it, right? They're able... Exactly. They get the mountain, so now it's a real threat. This next Baron could just kind of die as fast as you can imagine.
Yeah, double Mountain Drake just really does tear that one apart, especially with PentaQ having his Infinity Edge completed. Gimgoon, lots of damage. Republic, tons of damage.
So then now, what is Snake going to do?
This is the thing. They'll probably have to use their composition, try and grab themselves a pick. Possibly layering some Hemo Plague plus some Gnar. Really will be able to help get some damage there, but it's a lot to hope for. Tank, I just feel like he should have built a Rylai's early. He needs those three items that he has, but Rylai's is so important.
Yeah, he needs a lot, though. That just comes down to... And Gnar can never really be put in a position where he can give his teams the proper fight or position, because whenever he starts splitting, Game Talents put themselves in a threatening position around Baron, or they put themselves... Like, Gangplank is already... Because Gangplank's not even looking to deal with this Gnar. He just wants to shove out a few waves, head on over towards his team, help out his Sivir in that aspect to get control of this objective. But Gnar, like right now, Flandre should really start to push out, get something, look for a trade, because right now, if the status quo remains, it's not looking good for Snake.
No, it's not. Well, Martin as well, sitting on 3 items. That is almost a mortal reminder completed here as Jay-Z finds Wushang, but they decide they don't want this fight with the rest of GT waiting in the wings. Testing the waters, another Cocoon lands, decent chip. As they clear out Vision. Still some fight left in this Snake team.
Yeah, not a lot of damage coming out of them, especially from Martin right now. Martin still needs time to build up his Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
Possibly his...
Runon's
Hurricane, get himself going a little bit more. But right now, feels like Game Talents can tank up as much as possible and force Snakes in any position. Like, really, they can force a team fight. They can force a position. Maybe they look to trade, but they don't have to. So right now, Game Talents, they do this thing where they get the lead, but they play far too slowly.
Yeah, well, they're not really doing anything right now. No one's really doing anything right now. It's just trading for Vision over the Baron Pit. 6,000 gold, still the lead. Snake clawing a little bit of it back.
And
Andre has a bit of a push on this wave.
And they give this advantage over to Snake in a sense, because if you have that lead, if you have the item spike and you're not taking advantage of it, especially if you're putting yourself in positions where maybe you're not timing your backs properly as a unit, that gives an opening to Snake to maybe even take a pick that they're looking for.
Yeah. See whether they can take that. The one thing I'm looking at is PentaQ's 305 Sivir with 4 completed items, one of them being a Mortal Reminder, which means that Tank can have some troubles. Hawkshot flew over, they saw it there. One Scrying Orb still remains. GT continue to clear vision everywhere.
Yeah, they can do this for quite some time. They don't have to really rush anything, though, with that being said, they shouldn't let the game go on too long with their lead, or else they're pretty much handing it off.
Well, in they go. On the Hunt has been popped. GT looking for this fight as up goes SOFM. Immediately back down as there's a huge knock-up combo as Tank's right in the backline. Arrow lands onto Wushang. But you can see the Gangplank ultimate just did so much work. Nice Zonyas from Tank. Will keep him alive for the moment, but now Snake are just getting picked off. And Game Talent's finding this team fight. Gimgoon is massive. That was a big gnar into the wall from Flandre, but too little too late. GT will continue pushing down. Tank and Flandre dead. JZ limping away with SOFM and Martin.
Yeah, so what can you do? Game Talents right now can take any fight possible, and honestly, Martin cannot walk in.
No.
Like, there are far too many factors. Maybe hidden barrels, maybe Rek'Sai who looks to flash, engage on him because Wushang held on to that flash draw. So, Ash, no harm in Martin. I'm not blaming him. It's hard for him to even touch this fight. As they look to get the Baron here.
Yeah, they'll take it down extremely quickly as well. Look at those double Mountain Drakes doing work. As it is taken down. Martin now will get a red buff. Says, oh, this is as good as Baron, right? I'll get a red buff. It'll be fine.
Just as good.
Oh, yeah.
So
Void stuff is completed by Tank, though. I mean, that's good. Items are still coming for Snake, but it just feels like as this game goes on, GT will just scale so incredibly hard.
you never know, they could make a mistake, and the real question is now they got a Baron. This has been a theme for them. They get Barons.
Yeah, can you actually use it?
Yeah, can you use it now? Because the Dragon is coming up soon, so is that going to be their next focus?
Yeah, no, you use the Baron to get Elder Drake.
Yes.
This is what I've explained to you.
That's just what happens now.
Yeah, that's how it works.
They do have an inhib, so like they have an inhib lead. These side towers are available. They can look for it whenever they want. So, at this point, take a step back, Game Talents.
Yeah. Well, look, they certainly have been. Now 35 minutes into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything calm. Cool, calm, and collected. Slowly does it has been the theme of today. And they're just going to set up for this Elder Drake. Give themselves all of the ability possible to siege down his last remaining turrets. And that is going to go down extraordinarily fast.
Yeah.
GT just get it. And they get it fast.
Best thing about getting an Earth Dragon is that you can just get more dragons.
Yeah.
Just faster dragon timer.
The Dragon Snowball Dragon.
Yeah, so they just they don't even have to worry about tanking it, honestly. So now that they got the Baron and the Elder Dragon, they can pretty much look, and they have the mid wave coming in too because of that super creep coming in. It's gonna take some time.
Whoa, look at those crits from Penacue. Starting to hurt. Almost has 6 items. Hex Drinker there, building towards that more of Malmortius for that 6th.
You'd have to think that at some point teams are just gonna ban Sivir.
Yeah. Well, we saw that yesterday. Didn't see it today. Barrel actually lands onto JZ. The engage potential not there as the Chaos Storm is flashed out of the way from Martin. He's still able to stand in the back line, but the cannon barrage is going to be enough. JZ falls at the hands of Pentacue. This inhibitor is going to fall down. So 2 inhibitors dead. Gimgoon, big barrels. There's GT with this Elder Drake, the Baron buff. Nexus turret's now exposed. Tank watching as they fall down. His wave clear meaning nothing at this point. One more Nexus turret is still there as Snake. Oh my god, the triple barrel!
Oh.
That is ridiculous out of Gimgoon. This guy's gangplank looks so good. Second Nexus turret falls, and we're going to game 3 with GT versus Snake.
That was something. Took a little bit, but they end up getting that win. Must feel bad for Snake. They had, or at least specifically Tank. Tank was doing super well, and if you see a Vladimir snowballing that hard, you'd expect to win, or at least some real pressure.
Yeah, and they were able to pick up that first blood. SOFM got a brilliant cocoon after blowing that flash early on. And then unfortunately, nothing was able to come of it. You can see GT, Nard into the wall. Flandre's Nard did look good, but the timings, everything from Snake in these team fights in the late game just wasn't there, and I think that Sivir is just so important. You really got to get rid of it.
Yeah, and if you're playing the Ashe right there, like to start the play, he misses the Ashe ulti. And Ashe without Malzahar is really difficult to utilize, right? A lot of the times they just kind of shy away from the Ashe because if you can't get those arrows to hit,
yeah,
then you pretty much don't have much to actually contribute for your team. So as you see here, Jizzo was actually looking to get that flank. He was pretty much working his way up there, but the team dies too early. The bigger point really is that, see, like, even if he gets the Ashe ulti,
immediate cleanse.
So they can always look to just disengage, put down that field, Sivir ulti, just kind of, honestly, they can play this fight in however way they want it. And they can pretty much win throughout because Ashe always has to fear for her life whenever she walks in, as she should, because just about anybody on that team should be able to just eviscerate her, really.
Well, Tank as well tried to get on top of PentaQ towards the backline in this fight and didn't achieve anything against PentaQ's Sivir.
At this point, it's far too late. Gangplank, and this is a Gangplank when he has a good enough lead, or at least just he's even in this play.
Yeah.
So Gangplank does a lot. In the game against EDG, when he and Mouse played Gangplank, he got really far behind. He got pressured, demolished in that sense, but he came back later on in the game. Now this is a Gangplank that, you know, was doing all right for himself. And so we saw his effectiveness.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether he's going to get that one again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw it to a short break. When we get back, game number 3 between Snake